howdy y'all, and I hope you're having a blessed day, and I thank each and every one of you for clicking on this video. Big shout out and thank you to my subscribers. Thank y'all. And what you're looking at right there is a boat that is almost ready for fiberglass. I've got to do a final cleaning on these bottom surfaces. I'm going to have to run over it with some acetone, maybe some denatured alcohol, to get all the little fine dust particles off of there. And I think also right in here I've got a little bit thickened epoxy. I know you can't see that, it's already been slicked out, but it's not quite set up yet. It's still just a little bit pliable. I need to let that cure just a little bit more right there in that radius so I can come back and finish sanding that. But excuse me, aside from that, we're ready to put down the fiberglass. And like I mentioned in that last video, I'm going to start by applying the 4-inch wide tape to all these corners. And I'm going to work that tape all the way around the float pods, bottom of the stern, and then we're going to lay down our sheets. And I have everything laid out over here. All these pieces are pre-cut and ready to go. They've been laying up here since about November. And by the way, it is April. And of course, you know my story. You know, I had the little episode, the little illness back there. Well, it wasn't a little illness, it was a big illness back in January. And of course, it also got some dadgum cold out here. Couldn't do anything out here, just had to wait for the weather to warm back up. But warm weather is here, and got the bottom of the boat cleaned off now. I wish I could say the same for the rest of my shop. Well, the rest of my shop looks bad, but yeah, we'll get there. Alright folks, I will see you here momentarily when I get ready to get started on the fiberglassing. Okay, just like that, I'm back. And we're just about ready to go. Like I said, I'm going to start by reinforcing these corners, put the fiberglass tape on the corners. But I did have to get out here last night with a sanding pad, and I hand sanded the entire bottom surface and the sides with 220 grit sandpaper. I guess the wood has been sitting out here unprotected, you know, in this bare state for so long, with the changes in humidity, changes in temperature. I ran my hand over it before I sanded it, and I just picked up like a bunch of little splinters. So I guess the grain has been lifting and raising, and it's just doing weird things to the grain of the wood. So like I said, I just took a sanding pad and went over the whole thing. Took a couple of hours. That's what I used right there, and I just sanded the whole thing down. And sides also, the float pods. I don't know exactly what's going on with the wood there, but you know, I'm just assuming, like I said, it's the changes in humidity, changes in seasons, temperatures and all, causing a little bit of grain lifting. So we got that smoothed out, and I will be ready to start laying down the tape here shortly. We'll be right back. Alright folks, I got the camera set up and I've got the resin mixed, and I'm kind of going to be chasing the camera here. We'll see how it works out. May have to make a few adjustments on the fly, but here goes. Okay folks, I'm going to finish working those air bubbles out. That little section right there is giving me a little bit of a hard time. I think it's because the resin's right on the edge of firing off right there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off. And I do apologize. We're going to add some really big challenges here today with these camera angles. And so I did the best I could with it. And hopefully I can get enough footage out of this to just show you what's going on here with the fiberglassing of the corners. And I will catch you in the next segment. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to call it a night right there. And that's it for this session. I've still got to do these corners right here, but I'm not going to worry about those tonight. Got a little bit of lifting going on over here, but if it lifts, I can come back with a sander, knock that down. You saw me chasing these air bubbles right here, and I still got a little bit of an air bubble right there. And sometimes that's all you can do is just push it out with your finger. What I ended up doing, ended up taking scissors and just cutting this piece right here in the middle, because I'd get this air bubble out on this side, pop up over here, and vice versa. So I just cut it. That solved the problem. Now if I do get any lifting on the edges, I don't know if it's air, if it's, oh, I know what that is. That is not an air bubble. But if I get any lifting, like along these edges right here, I'll just come back and sand them down. I'll end up having to taper sand that anyway before it's all said and done. But I think I got most of the air bubbles out. And we went almost all the way around the boat. Right over here at the nose, and I'll probably drape this piece over this right here when I come down the center. Not going to worry about that right now. I got a little bit of air bubble going on right there. Got a feeling I'm going to be injecting some resin in there on that one. I can't get that one worked out. Let me see. I got a little bit of resin over here. Maybe I can get some on my finger and pack that down in there real good. Let's see if we can solve that problem real quick. There, just dipping some on my finger. I just want to saturate that area, and hopefully that will push that out. What's happening is this is an overlap, and we've got the edge of this piece here underneath this piece right here, and that's what's causing that little air bubble right there. I'm going to see if I can just saturate that with some resin. And then take one of my pin rollers and hit that real good. I think we might win. Okay. Worst comes to worst, I'll put a little small hole in it with a small drill bit and inject it with some resin. All right. Anyway, continuing on. We got it all down on the corner, and back here across the back. Like I said, this back side was more of a challenge than I thought it was going to be, just because of this little area right here. And I might come back and do the same thing right there, just throw some more resin in that. I got a lot of footage here, folks. Of course, I'm going to fast forward through most of it. This is going to be a process. I can see that already. It's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. Okay. Same thing right there. We're just going to saturate that and then just work that bubble out. I don't think that's air right there. I think that's that cured epoxy resin underneath that little area right there. Don't tug on it too hard, because then it lifts, and you do get an air bubble. You induce your own air bubble. That right there. And again, that's cured epoxy. That's not an air bubble right there, that little white spot you see. I've already checked that out. Come back, got the same thing going on. Anywhere where I've got an overlap, it looks like we're dealing with air bubble issues. So we'll just put a little extra resin there at those points. Well, it's still nice and wet. Even though this is a slow hardener, it wanted to kick off on me a little faster than I wanted it to. That's it. Ooh, I see one. See another one here. I'm just going to work him to the edge. It's right there on that corner, right where I'm rubbing that resin in with my finger. Got a little bubble pop up right there. And I'm just going to work it out to the edge. And then at some point you just got to walk away and leave it alone. Okay, I think we got them all. There might be something going on right in here. I'll take my pin rollers and work that again. Yeah. You can take my pin rollers, work those radiuses. Alright folks, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera off. We're going to call that good. So I will catch you in the next segment. Okay, I'm back. And actually this is turning out quite well. It's been a couple of days now since I laid that tape down on those corners. And I went around and inspected everything, and no air bubbles, which is always good. Now like I said, because of the way these edges are woven on this fiberglass tape, I did get, it's not lifting, but I do have a noticeable high spot there on those edges, but no problem. Just take a little sandpaper to it, knock that down, and what I'm doing right now is getting those little high spots knocked down, getting those edges dressed so I can finish out the float pods right here on these corners. I said I was going to tape all the corners off, and that's what I'm doing. I'm getting all of these areas here where I'm going to be overlapping with additional tape. I'm getting all of that prepared. You don't want to leave that, because then that'll create a little bump in your next layer of fiberglass and you'll get an air bubble. So by knocking down all the high spots, that'll eliminate possibility of getting air bubbles underneath the next layer of glass. So I will be back here shortly once I get that done. I'll see you in a moment. Alright folks, that's a wrap. I'm going to wrap this video up. I got the corners of these float pods done here this afternoon, or actually I should say just a couple of hours ago. And so they are now all taped up on the corners. Well, except for the vertical corners. I'll come back and do those later. But that's it. Next step is to start fiberglassing the hull with the fiberglass cloth. And I did want to mention something to you, just in case you were curious about where I was. I've mentioned it several times. That I had to take a little bit of a break earlier this year, back in January and February. And so I'm going to put a link to a WordPress blog. I write a blog on WordPress.com called Tools for Christian Living. And it's a rather lengthy testimony of how God worked in my life and got me through that illness. And so I will put a link to that blog down below. And that's where I'm going to post the account of what happened, what took place here a couple of months ago when I missed all that time. And like I said, I've mentioned it previously. I really did not go into a lot of detail, but I do feel like God wants me to share this story with you. He wants me to share this testimony. So like I said, I will write that in my blog. And again, the description, or let me back up. The link to the WordPress blog, Tools for Christian Living, that will be down in the description box down below. So again, thank you for watching, and God bless all of you, And as always, in all things, to God be the glory. Good night.